Good afternoon. Welcome to Mathlete Mondays. I'm here with my good friend Andressa Chapman with Trigger Hotel Marketing. We're here today to talk about the top unfounded assumptions that revenue management and marketing have about each other.
Mike, I have worked with a lot of revenue managers and a lot of revenue directors in my day. There are certain stereotypes that sort of proliferate through the industry. So can you help us determine what's actually accurate and what may be off?
I will do my best. I'm a little scared.
First of all revenue managers do is sit in a really dark room drinking black coffee all day, regurgitating numbers. Help me out here.
No, you have it. That's all we do. That's been a stereotype for a really long time, right? And I think when you look at the evolution of revenue management, oftentimes it was that data junkie, right? That just wanted to sit down, crunch the numbers, spit out a report, and tell you what we needed to do. But I think that I'm seeing a significant tide change with those companies that have been really successful, where revenue optimization is no longer about really strictly data analysis or strictly about pricing and restriction controls. Rather, you really need to be able to filter your message throughout the organization and really help guide that revenue management culture. Revenue management works best when everybody at the hotel level or within a certain organization is all working on the same team in order to drive additional revenue for the property. And you can't do it by yourself, right? So I think that in order to truly be an effective revenue leader, you do need to get out. You need to walk around the property. You need to understand how customers are engaging with the hotel. And the more that you're able to have a diverse worldview within your hospitality career, I think the more you can relate to different audiences and thus ensure that they're helping to work towards the same goals that you've outlaid for the hotel.
A lot of people see revenue managers and they go, "Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto." And you just want to say, "Have a heart." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So help me out, because I feel like there's a stereotype in the industry where revenue managers just see guests as like walking dollar signs.
I have definitely been guilty of that throughout my career. I think that there's a tendency when you're in revenue management to get so focused on the value of one room that you miss out on the customer lifetime value, right? In order to truly be successful as a hospitality organization, you can't just focus on max profitability for one room on one night, right? You have to consider how you build true raving fans for your hotel or for your brand. And when you're able to do so over the long run, you'll really start to be able to build that solid revenue base and accelerate, your trajectory.
What would you say to the notion that revenue managers think that social media is only a tool for selling anything and everything the property has to offer? Oftentimes on the marketing side, we're asked, "Hey, we have this new event coming up. Hey, we have this new product in the spa. We have this. We want." So, and while all that's important, or we have a new offer coming out, we really have to make sure that we're balancing what we're putting into social media between trying to promote and actually adding value to our followers.
Yeah, Andressa, I think that's a great question. And as I look at the hotel industry, I think that it's called over the past 15 years, there's been a lot of emphasis that's been placed on pricing and inventory optimization, and less emphasis placed on the strategic side, right? So I think that our tendency as directors of revenue in the past has been to say, okay, we have a special offer, let's get it in front of people, right? But what we haven't really thought through is how do we differentiate our hotel? What really makes our offering special? And if we're just competing on a 20% offer, the hotel down the street can match that very quickly, right? So I think we oftentimes need to take a step back and start with a deep analysis of who are our core customers, what separates our hotel from the hotel down the street, and how can we feature that in the most positive light, right? So as we partner with marketing, I think it's really beneficial for our marketing experts to be able to help bring that to the table because they have that strong understanding of customer preferences and behaviors and really what that guest is looking for. So we can start to get away a little bit from that offer-specific messaging and really help to build value either by promoting content, such as like travel planning destinations, or being able to show the events that are going on at our hotel and, hey, look at all this great programming. And I think as a result, people will want to stay at the hotels. We may not have as much in the process either.
Yes. So Mike, can you tell me what's wrong with this picture? It's December 13th. and the revenue manager walks into the marketing office and says, "We need a package for New Year's Eve."
I've been guilty of this as well. And I think that, there's a natural tendency to start to see pace slip. And all of a sudden you panic and try to see how quickly you can get an offer out there. And when you do that, you're not thinking through what is the right messaging at the right time to the right customer, right? So it's just I call it a Hail Mary effort, right? You're throwing the far you can on the field and you're hoping somebody's going to catch it. And, at the end of the day, if we do get bookings, we're really eroding our long-term credibility. But then two, when we're looking at that short of a lead time, like everybody already has their plans baked, right? So especially New Year's Eve, right? Now we're what, 18 days out, and people already have their plans. They're not going to pivot and all of a sudden fly across the country to go to our hotel. And I think one of the challenges is that we get so caught up in the day-to-day and we're just trying to survive from one day to the next that oftentimes we forget that we ran this campaign last year, or we were planning at the beginning of the year to come up with these 4 promotions to highlight our summer period, and we just haven't had an opportunity to get around to it. So we pull that ripcord last minute and we try and put it together, and we just don't have the effectiveness.
What would you recommend for properties to kind of, because I feel like there are Hail Marys going on all over the place all day long, every day. And that's what drives us to do all of the things on the marketing side that really aren't as beneficial, executing them in the right, not executing them in the right way. What would you recommend, at least from the revenue management perspective, to get out of the habit of having to do these Hail Marys all the time?
To be honest, I think it starts with getting all of the information out of one person's head and into a centralized location, right? So I've seen your tracking document, that you put together that goes through the multi-step deployment plan for a campaign. And if you're late to the game as a director of revenue, you're not going to be able to get that campaign in place, right? So I think it starts with consolidating all the information. I think it also involves bringing in multiple disciplines. So we need revenue and sales and marketing to be joined at the hip, right? And you see this huge institutional knowledge risk where you have somebody at a property that has all this, this deep expertise about a particular property and the way it performs in that market, and then they leave or they get promoted within the organization, and now all of a sudden that person walks out the door. And so we don't know what we ran last year. We don't know what's worked well in the past. So wherever you can find a place to do it, just get all the information into one place. And I would also try to take that manual breakpoint out of the equation, right? So the more that you can automate reminders, and it can be as simple as setting up a calendar reminder in your Outlook, right? At FOCO, we actually have like automatic notifications that will trigger you about 2 weeks in advance of when you ran a marketing campaign last year. Trigger. So, with that, it's just another quick reminder to say, okay, yes, I need to put the proper planning in place in order to get this promotion out the door.
I love all of that. And I think from a marketing standpoint, it's important to make sure that we're marketing all the time and not just putting campaigns in place when we need immediate revenue. Because when we're marketing all the time, we should find ourselves in a place where we have less of those instances where we have to generate a lot of revenue really quickly, and then sometimes put offers out and do things on a rate level that we might not otherwise need or want to do.
So thank you for joining us for Mathlete Mondays. It's been a lot of fun talking to Andressa today. Look forward to the next opportunity to do so. Andressa, any final words?
No.
All right. I think we're good.